Hey, curious minds, welcome to the Robert and Crew Show, where nothing's off limits and everything's up for debate. I'm Robert, here with Crew and the awesome Julie, and let me tell you, Season 6 is our wildest ride yet. You like conspiracies? We've got 'em. From secret societies with handshake deals in shadowy rooms, to wild theories about weather control and UFOs zipping across the skies, I promise there's no rabbit hole too deep for us to dive into. Ever wondered if your neighbor's a lizard person? Or if the lights in the sky are just weather balloons? Or something a little more out of this world? Yeah, we talk about that. But it's not just mysteries and mayhem. We're also obsessed with history's weirdest moments, global news stories that never make the front page, and even the pop culture that shaped us. Batman debates, Assassin's Creed lore, classic horror films that made us sleep with the lights on, all fair game. And the best part? Our show isn't just us talking. We bring in special guests, listener questions, and wild interviews that might just blow your mind. Whether you're tuning in on Facebook, Twitch, or right here on YouTube, you're in for a mix of shock, laughs, and those, wait, seriously, moments. So if your brain loves a good mystery, join us every week. Hit subscribe, drop your weirdest questions, and let's unravel the world together, one wild episode at a time. This is the Robert and Crew Show. See you on the other side.
Welcome back to the Robert and Crew Show. As always, I'm your podcast host, Robert.
And I'm your podcast co-host, Crew.
And I'm your co-host, Julie.
So how's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Doing pretty good.
What'd you all do today?
Laundry.
You worked. Julie did laundry. I got a new computer. I bet everybody can notice. Anybody that sees this will notice that it's a different view. So how are you? So how was work today, dude?
Sucked.
It sucked. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
How was laundry, Julie?
It was good. It wasn't as much as it normally is today,
So
that
in
was a
other
good
words,
thing.
it didn't suck.
Yeah.
I didn't have the greatest day at first today, but my day got better and I feel a lot better. So I'm happy. Had like a breakdown because I lost my phone and I ended up finding my phone at Best Buy. I accidentally left it at Best Buy and I had to go and retrace my steps and figure out where my phone was and then get lucky enough that my phone was at Best Buy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rough today. It looks like Crew had a rough day today.
But now it's all good.
It is all good. Because guess what? We're on the Robert and Crew Show with Julie. So tonight we will be talking about
Thunderbirds.
What just happened? There you are. I was like, oh my God, my computer did something weird for a second. But yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about Thunderbirds and other bird cryptids, such as Mothman is going to be a little bit of a winged guest in tonight's episode. We have definitely talked about Mothman before. So if you've listened to the podcast, you've probably heard us talk about Mothman, but we've only done it once before, and it was a while back. So we're going to welcome
during our
back
Cryptids episode.
So we're going to welcome back Mothman to the show tonight. What'd you say, Crew?
It was during our Cryptids episode.
Yeah, it was during one of our Cryptids episodes. Was that season 1 or season 2?
I think it was season 1.
Season 1. So tonight's first cryptid that we're going to talk about is going to be the Thunderbird. Do you guys know what the Thunderbird is?
I've tried to. I looked it up. It looked pretty interesting.
It's kind of like Aerodactyl.
And I think one video said it was kind of like a big blackbird, if I'm not mistaken.
Like a big old, like, half, that dinosaur looking like, um, but
And
it's
it was big
also a
enough to
blackbird.
pick up a child.
Yeah, the pterodactyls and bald eagles and basically a thunderbird is just a giant bird that has been spotted during thunderstorms and extreme weather. The
Yeah.
natives used to talk about the thunderbirds all the time. All right. So the term Thunderbirds can refer to multiple subjects, including U.S. Air Force demonstrator squadrons or mythical creatures from indigenous cultures. So we're definitely not going to talk about the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds, even though that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
There's
We're
also a car that's a Thunderbird, too.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Thunderbirds as in the indigenous mythology. So, the Thunderbirds, a legendary creature in mythologies of many indigenous cultures in North America, particularly among the Plains Pacific Northwest and the Great Lake tribes. It's depicted as a massive bird capable of creating storms, thunder, and lightning with its wings and its eyes. It's often associated with power, protection, and the natural elements. Its size, it's up to 18 to 23 feet, resembling a giant teratorn or an extinct bird like a teratornis. It's said to snatch children or livestock in some oral traditions, emphasizing its fearsome nature. It's a protector against malevolent forces such as reptilian creatures in some tribal stories. Receiving a vision from a thunderbird during a solitary fast could signify becoming a war chief. Cultural variations among the Osage, the thunderbirds are linked to stories of giant beasts with archaeological evidence. The mastodon remains supporting oral traditions. In Pacific Northwest cultures, the thunderbird is a central figure in totem poles and art, symbolizing strength. In connection to paleontology, the thunderbird may be inspired by the Teratornis, an extinct genus of large birds with a wingspan of up to 23 feet, whose fossils are found across North America. The links in oral histories to paleontological evidence. The Osage stories of battle involving giant beasts align with fossil findings, suggesting cultural memory of prehistoric fauna. In modern interpretations, the thunderbird appears in modern fiction and art, sometimes reimagined as a dragon-like creature with symbiotic relationship to a smaller lightning-tailed dragon. It remains a potential symbol in indigenous storytelling, often tied to environmental and spiritual themes. So that's basically what the Thunderbird was. The Thunderbird was a giant bird that the natives told stories about the birds stealing livestock and taking their children away. That's a pretty big bird to take a child away.
Yeah.
Now, I did mention another one of these famous cryptids, Julie, and its name is Mothman.
Yes, and I got the information on the Mothman tonight.
Yes.
So the Mothman was spotted in 1966 in Mount Pleasant, West Virginia. First wildly reported images in November of 1966. Description includes a large winged figure sometimes described as bird-like, assembled bat, like a man with red glowing eyes. The creature associated with Point Pleasant near the old TNT area, and it was associated with the Silver Bridge collapse. He is linked uh, to the collapse of the Silver Bridge in December of 1967. Though the bridge collapse was likely due to structural failure, the Mothman legend also includes a connection to other paranormal phenomena such as UFOs and Men in Black. And also the Mothman was spotted in 2011 in Chicago. Reports from the Chicago Tribune suggest that the creature was 7 foot tall, and reported sightings around Lake Michigan and even around Chicago O'Hare Airport.
Dude, that's crazy. It was how big?
7 feet tall.
7 feet tall, and it also had wings, right? Because it's Mothman,
Yeah,
so it had to have wings. You
yeah,
know,
it did.
I always hear stories about Mothman's eyes glow red.
Yeah, that's just incredible.
So when it comes to Mothman, like you said, it was seen and spotted during the what year did the bridge collapse?
1967.
1967, and that bridge was in Pennsylvania.
It's
Or
the Silver Bridge. So I'm not sure where the Silver Bridge is. It didn't say.
okay, so the Silver Bridge, I can find that out real quick. Let us see. Silver Bridge. All right, the Silver Bridge was built in 1928, carried U.S. Route 35 over the Ohio River, connecting Point Pleasant, West Virginia,
Okay.
and Gallipolis or Gallipolis, Ohio. Okay,
Oh,
let me get a picture of this real quick. This bridge collapse.
okay.
All right. Here we go, and add a file. Oh no, where is it at? Okay, now let's see if these ones work. A couple of these images didn't want to, nope, they don't work.
That's too bad.
That's, I don't understand. It's weird. I tried to get a picture of the bridge collapse, guys. I'm sorry, I can't get it. I need a Google on here. I'll get it real quick. google.com. Boom. Let me see. Go to images. Silver Bridge collapse. Images. Okay, I think I got it. Yeah, I got it. Cool. Sorry about that, guys.
It's okay.
That was the Virginia or the Silver Bridge where Mothman was supposedly seen.
Mm.
Yeah. And I heard that he appears right
Thanks.
before destruction.
Thanks for telling me I got a 6 statue collection. Thank you. They just had the craziest 2-hour argument with my bro on Israel, and damn, he's really into the Israeli shit. I could care less, laugh my ass off. I told him most contested place in the world. What do you expect? He went shouting and all. Crazy. I hate getting into political arguments with family. Here's another image of the bridge and during the cleanup. And then here's a picture of part of the bridge that wasn't really affected, but was affected. As you can see, there's steel barriers in the water there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but I had heard that, like I said, the Mothman likes to appear right before something bad will happen.
And this is like a depiction of Mothman that you sent me, Julie, which I've actually seen this depiction before. It's pretty cool.
It is.
And then the obvious Mothman statue that isn't that in West
That's in Point Blank,
West
Point
Virginia.
Pleasant. Yeah.
Yeah, Point
West
Pleasant.
Virginia.
Yeah, that's really awesome, actually. Elm Street said, I don't care about no country at all. I'm not going to fight no war for no one. PDO, my bad. Dude, you're good. I don't care about all of the political fighting going on right now. I have no care for it at all. I want nothing to do with it. I'm tired of the Israel versus everybody, the Israel versus the Palestinians, Israel versus the Iranians, and then dragging us all into all of it. I'm just, quite honestly, I'm tired of it. And I hear it from my family all the time, and they just won't shut up about it. And I'm just, quite honestly, Trump's not that scary. It's only going to be 4 years. Everybody just needs to get over it. I don't know what else to say. He's going to be there for 4 years. Y'all tried to impeach him. Y'all tried to throw him out. Y'all tried to do all this. It didn't work. Get over it.
Yeah.
I had to deal with 8 years of Obama. I mean, come on now.
And then the Bushes.
Yeah, and the Bushes and the Clintons. I mean, I had to deal with all of that. Elm Street says, I wish I could get back those 2 hours. I totally understand. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Mothman, Julie, do you think Mothman is one of those cryptids that only shows up right before disaster?
Well, that's what it was saying allegedly that it usually does come. But then he appeared in Chicago in 2011, so I don't know. It's just so interesting what people say.
She said it's more like, it's the bro, and I don't like seeing him like that. But what it is, I'm a believer in the Mothman isn't real. Yeah, the Mothman probably isn't real. I don't know. I've never seen Mothman. I think Mothman being a cryptid though is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty neat.
The first
Folklore
person
and
who existed was a weird guy. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he was a weird guy.
yeah, because I've heard so many stories. I've watched that Josh Gates guy go over it, and the paranormal files people went out there and did a video on it, and it's just interesting.
Now, crew, how do you
Yeah.
feel about Mothman?
Crazy cryptid.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Elm Street said it's a whole thing about stuff like that because I believe in ghosts, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I mean, I've seen ghosts, so I can definitely tell you,
So,
regardless if you want to believe in them, they're real. And quite honestly, I think it's energy. Elm Street said had some crazy things happen at the house I grew up in, and that was it. I've had crazy things happen at almost all of the houses I've moved into. Elm Street said it moved out when I was like 14. I get you. In the house that I grew up in, we had a door that would open and close itself, and the doorknob would turn, and you could watch it happen in real time. That
Wow.
was my first paranormal experience I ever had in my life, was watching that door open itself in the dead of the night, and then confronting confronting my brother about it and asking him if he had ever witnessed it. And my brother being like, I thought I was the only one. And I'm like, no, I've seen it. And then later on, my mom said she thought she heard some weird shit happen in the house.
Yeah, it could. It's possible.
Have you ever had a paranormal experience, Julie?
Uh, just that. I've had that one bad experience where I was laying on a floor in an upstairs uh room. It
Yeah.
was completely empty, and I was laying there trying to pray and just trying to get away from everybody and everything, and it was like on either side of me was like just this dark figure. I don't know if that's the way to describe it, but it was just piercing. And I was just so frozen in place. I was scared to move.
Right.
And as soon as daylight hit, I ran down those steps and didn't go back up there again.
Oh,
And I found out from the people that ran the place that something bad did happen up there.
I feel like that it's basically residual energy that's being left in a place like that. And like basically things around us actually hold and carry memory. So like a house, for instance, if enough negative energy is accumulated inside of a house, those walls remember, like they literally have memories. And they like that's why some people say they see a ghost walking a certain way in their house like every time they see it. The ghost is only in the kitchen and it walks around like it's trying to cook in the kitchen on the stove or whatever. It's because it's not really technically a ghost. It's the house having a memory, if that makes any sense. I know that's really weird, but I read up on that and it's a theory that I do truly believe in, is that residual energy can hide in places that are cherished that people put their energy into.
Yeah.
Elm Street did say some stuff here. What was the first one he said up here? I gotta
Hold on.
pull it up. You got it?
It only happened a few times, which made it realistic. Door pounding, but door wasn't shaking. Voices in my window, but no one there. Cup flying off the longest counter ever, and my dog would always bark at something and chase it. You gotta understand. Also, grew up near the most haunted place in the world, or just America. I don't know until it burned down.
Yeah, and then he said I was the first that lived in that house too. That's always a weird one because
That is weird.
the second house that I ever lived in, I was the first person in that. Like we were the first family in that house. Like it was built for my parents, and we had ghosts or ghost activity in that house, and it made no sense to me.
Elm Street said the place was called Haystack Landing.
Oh, that's a that's an interesting name.
That is.
Was it out there in the country somewhere?
He said could have been some Native Americans not far from here. They were massacred.
Hmm.
That does make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that does. That does.
I've
And
even thought
then,
that about where we live, crew. We had a lot of Native American stuff and a lot of, speaking of Thunderbirds, because Native Americans basically were the ones who brought up Thunderbirds. Native Americans are a big part of our conversation tonight. The natives, they're the ones who first spotted the Thunderbird, okay? The
Elm
native,
Street said no, next to a main river that goes to San Francisco Bay.
gotcha. So right outside of or right outside of San Francisco, or were you inside of San Francisco? Oh, Thunderbirds are a huge legend in California, that's for sure. I will tell you guys a story, and you're probably gonna laugh at me, but back in like 2000 and probably 2016 maybe, I was at a park out in where close by where I live, and I was out there right at like probably right at dawn. And at this point in time, I was going out there to fish. It was like by the lake, and I went out there to go fish. And I heard this really loud screeching noise, and I look above me, and there's this huge bird flapping its wings and flying above me. Just goes right above me, and I look at it, and I realize it looks exactly like a pterosaur, like a pterodactyl, right in front of me, head and all. I'm completely sober at this point in time, by the way. So freaked out that I called the wildlife people right by the lake to see if anybody would answer my call, and I could tell the people what I saw. My sighting is actually on a website for cryptid sightings.
that's pretty interesting.
It was crazy, and the only reason I say it was a pterodactyl or a pterosaur was because of the head. When I like its head, it was like a pointed head, and it looked like it had a spike thing coming off its head, off the tip of its head. You know how like they kind of looked or whatever, and it had wings, and it looked like it had little arms coming off of its wings. And this was before before I had a really good camera phone. So it's not like I could snap a picture of it and zoom in and get real close to it. And plus, it flew over me so fast. It was one of those things. But then when you look it up online, you find out that the place that I've seen them, not even 20 minutes away, there have been 7 or 8 sightings of the same kind of bird. And nobody knows what it is.
Wow.
Elm Street said, I will say one time I thought I saw a thunderbird. I was on top of a mountain called Lily Pad Lake. I saw a bird instantly. The sky turned into pink lightning from many angles and it lit up the lake. I thought I was hallucinating. But everyone with me saw it too. Not the bird, but the lightning. The mountain was massive and it was nearly 9 p.m. So not many birds be flying. Yeah. Like I said, I swear to God, I saw a pterodactyl, guys. I'll die on that. I don't know how else to explain what I saw. I have no way else to explain what I saw.
Yeah.
It was near Mount Shasta, I believe, and you know Shasta is the most mythical place in America. I didn't know that, but that's interesting. I'll check that. Elm Street said mine was just a small bird. Mine was not a small bird. This thing was not small. It was bigger than any bird I've ever seen. It was bigger than a turkey vulture, and turkey vultures are huge. And I've seen
Oh, yeah.
turkey vultures multiple times. You live in Texas, Julie. You probably see turkey vultures more than I do.
Not any time recently, though, but
You guys
I've
call
seen
them
them.
you guys call them buzzards out there.
Yeah. Well, we used to call them that back in Virginia, too.
Crew,
Yeah.
what experiences have you had? Be part of the conversation, my dude. You're very
Um.
quiet over there.
Well, okay. Experiences wise for bird cryptids. I haven't had any.
Well, you don't have to have an experience with a bird cryptid, but tell us like how you feel about the subject, things you know, what you don't know, what you've heard, what you believe. Like, I want to hear your side.
I don't really know nothing except for the Mothman, and Julie covered that one.
You're Native
Um,
American, and you don't have any beliefs about the Thunderbird. And you're Native American,
the
and your grandfather
Thunderbird.
was Native American.
The Thunderbird for
This is
me.
coming from the man who once told me his spirit animal was a hawk, and that he believed that if he tried hard enough, that he could read a hawk's mind and telepathically talk to birds. So I want to hear your input on this. Like, come on.
Okay. Oh Jesus. You're putting me on the spot right now. But no. Um. Okay. So what you experience, Rob, is definitely a dinosaur, or it could have been the Thunderbird.
I think mine was something that I can't even explain. And I think
Yeah.
to me, it looked more like a pterodactyl, but only from my interpretations of what a pterodactyl would look like, because we're not supposed to be alive when pterodactyls are. So
Yeah.
everything in my mind goes to there's no way in hell that's a pterodactyl. But everything in my head that saw everything goes, that was a fucking pterodactyl.
Right.
So it's hard.
So
Elm Street did say most people outside of California don't know Thunderbirds. They call it something like a golden eagle, etc. Also in California, we have the world's biggest flying bird called the California condor. Basically, have seen three in my entire life. I've actually watched documentaries on the California condor. Condors are absolutely amazing, and they are endangered. So the California condor, I don't know if those specific ones are endangered, but I know a while ago they were very big into like making sure that those birds were alive and well and not being messed with.
Yeah.
And Elm Street says they only live in Cali. That's crazy. I didn't know that, but I know that the California condor, like the condors or whatever, because I've always called them just condors. But I've also
Yeah.
heard them called the California condor. Those birds are huge. They're huge. You know, they say a grown eagle can have a wingspan of almost what is like 18 to 19 feet.
yep.
Yeah, they're pretty
So,
big.
like eagles can get crazy big wingspan. But anyways, finish what you were saying, man. I want to hear your point of view on all this.
So okay, so basically, um, to me, it's an urban legend, but with you seeing what you saw, and then others seeing what they saw, it's hard to explain. Could be a coincidence. Um, who knows? But that's one of those unexplained kind of mysteries.
It's definitely a weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're pretty neat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I've heard of
sure.
the condors.
So I got some images, and one of them is a fake image. Well, probably both of them are fake, but they were done really well. So let me get these on here real quick. So this is an image of a supposed Thunderbird kill, but I think it's obviously edited in there. I'm not sure, but it looks like an edited image to me. Fun fact though, this image was made before AI was available to the public. It was made a long time ago. I've seen this image before. And then here's the for sure fake one. The bird is obviously a painting and or drawing behind them.
Yeah, because why would you want it behind you and not in front of you?
It was obviously put in there afterwards.
Yeah.
And if you were those people, you would be so much more. It would be so much more excited about this. You wouldn't just be staring forward and straight.
Yeah.
It's like that's why I like this image better because it looks like they're holding the wings. But if you look at the photo, there's some discrepancies with it, like where the hands are on the people holding the bird's wings. The very far left, that guy's hand just does not look right to me. It does not look right to me at all. It doesn't look natural. And then the guy's hands on the very far right, they look too. One looks like a completely different hand than the other. So it's very hard for me. And then it looks like the people up front here aren't even aware that they have a giant pterodactyl behind them.
Yeah.
The people behind them aren't as excited as you think they would be if they actually killed a pterodactyl.
Hey, Elm Street says the image is real, the animal is fake.
Yeah, for sure. I think the images are real. I think the it's basically photoshopped. Those were
Yeah,
photoshopped
And
images.
also, you got to remember, back in the day, pictures like that, no one ever smiled.
yeah. And he says even the wingspan is wrong.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at
And
those
I
images
don't
long
get it
enough,
why
you can
nobody
tell
ever
they're not
smiled in
real.
photos back in the day.
Maybe
Yeah.
they just didn't have fun smiling.
Yeah, well, you know what? That reminds me. There's a picture of my family back in the day, and they were all holding guns, and they were all women, and it's a real picture. It's my
Those photos are
family,
awesome.
but
I
they
I love
didn't.
seeing photos like that.
But they were all holding guns, and it was just real. It's really cool picture. But I don't have it. It's at my mom's house. So
Right. So they also
Their
have.
faces.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Oh, he was just saying, faking archaeology is like those folks' mummies in museums. Their faces were packed up with dirt, stiff faces. That's why they don't smile.
Right. So the natives used to put Thunderbirds on totem poles.
Yeah.
I have an image of a totem pole with a Thunderbird on it. And this is what it would have looked like. The very top is the Thunderbird.
Mm.
So definitely, they were definitely more of a native thing.
Yeah.
And then Elm Street also said it's also not easy to make a Civil War photograph like that, even using AI. It takes a certain glass that's not used today. For sure. All right, well, I think it's about time to get into our clips, guys.
Heck yeah.
Okay. And our sponsor.
Yeah, we'll hit the sponsor video first, as always.
I don't think people understand just how messy Bigfoot gets. Mud, moss, mystery stains. His laundry's legendary. But now he's got a secret weapon. Watch as Bigfoot wrestles a puny detergent. Oops, there goes the cap. Enter Sasquatch Suds. With Yeti-strength cleaning power and pine-scented freshness, even his fluffiest fur sparkles. Now, Bigfoot struts past campers. Wait, is that envy or just amazement? Sasquatch Suds, for fur and duds.
Elm Street said at this point, I thought we were just BSing. Also, as a Californian, the home of Bigfoot, I don't believe in it. Ah, dude, Bigfoot's there, bro. He's there. He's there. I believe in Bigfoot.
I'm the reason you should be careful in the Appalachian Mountains. Born from the whispers of Appalachian folklore, I am the Snallygaster, a creature of shadows and moonlit fear. My origin is a tapestry woven from old world legends and the mysterious alchemy of the New World's wilderness. With a draconic body, sharp talons and wings that eclipse the starlit sky, I swoop silently over the forests and mountains. The early settlers brought tales of dragons and beasts, and from their collective fears and imaginations, I took form. Part bird, part reptile, a chimera of terror.
So the Snallygaster.
Yup.
What do you know about the Snallygaster, crew? Besides what was just said.
It's huge, and it looks like a freaking dragon.
Gotcha.
Hey, Elm Street says, I've been in the woods all my life and met one person who said they saw it. I didn't believe a word he said, LMAO. And where I live is Bigfoot's home. Been here 15 years.
Yeah. I still believe in Bigfoot. I don't care what anybody has to say. Bigfoot is just, he's one that I really hope and pray is real.
Yeah.
He's just really good at hide and seek.
Yep.
Demonic Bird Person, Part 2. The next day, Debbie and caretaker Robert are on the porch discussing the events that took place the night before. At this time, Debbie's 3 Yorkies were playing in the front yard. Connected to the porch, Debbie had a handicap handrail. She noticed a black raven perched on the top of the railing. The raven flies off the railing and flies right outside the front gate, just staring at Debbie. Thinking the bird might have rabies, Debbie and Robert walk up to the gate and start shooting at the bird. The bird turns around and walks away with its head still staring at Debbie like it wants them to follow it. They both follow it into the woods. The raven then disappears into thin air. Debbie then realizes that it was a trap and hurries back to her front yard. The raven is viciously attacking one of her dogs. She throws her shoe at the raven, and then the raven flies to the other dog. She then throws a stick and then kicks the raven. The raven flies up and then sits on the post just staring at Debbie. Robert gets the gun and fires multiple shots at the raven. Bullets hit the raven, but it does not flinch. After a couple more shots, it flies off the post and starts walking back into the forest where it collapses. Debbie goes to the forest to look for it, but it's gone. A month later, Robert confesses to Debbie that he witnessed something similar at the water tower. They both decide to draw what they saw, and the pictures were identical. Robert then explains that after he saw the creature, he went home, grabbed his gun, and headed back to the water tower. The creature appeared in front of him just like it did Debbie. Robert wondered in his mind if the creature had hands, and then the creature stuck out its hands like it read Robert's mind. Robert then looks down and notices that the creature had the same red tennis shoes that he was wearing, almost like it was mocking him. And just like with Debbie, the creature disappeared back on top of the water tower. The world is way stranger than you think. On the next episode, we'll cover a real-life account with a werewolf. Like and follow for more.
So Elm Street said some stuff here. He said, wait, you guys saw the alien video of the Mexican family saying they saw aliens, right? With the cop? That I did believe. Laugh my ass off. Also, police department body cams are allowed on Twitch. No copyright, but you have to find the official one. Obviously not some PD crime one. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is.
I'd like to do an episode eventually on crazy body cam footage.
I remember as a kid, I had just crossed a creek and was heading up a hillside, and I saw a shadow cross between me and the sun. So 50 years ago, something crossed between me and the sun. And the shadow made me look up. And even as a kid, I saw a span of a wing that crossed over on above the trees ahead of me, above me. And it was something that just, even then, seemed so out of proportion and so wrong that it terrified me. And I told my mom about it. And she dismissed it and thought, oh, it was just a big bird. It was something that was flying above the treetops, but the wing was every bit as large as maybe a small aircraft, like a small airplane. What? But it made no sound.
Wow. And
that's even as a kid, I laid in bed awake at night thinking, okay, what was that? What? Because it was silent, but it circled once, it circled twice, and then I never saw it again. So birds will do that. They'll circle, but this thing was enormous. And it was above all the trees. So it would take a significant sized bird to pass the sun to get my attention. It was just huge.
Elm Street says he saw a condor. I don't believe him. He said no birds make sounds. Birds make sounds all the time. Did that man say birds don't make sounds? Because if he did, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Not Elm Street, but the guy on the video.
Yeah, he did say the bird didn't make no sound. Birds
Yeah,
make
I've heard
noise.
eagles. So I live around eagles. Bald eagles are all over the place in Missouri. We actually have the only bald eagle cam in Missouri is where I live, which is absolutely hilarious. But eagles will fly and they'll screech.
Yeah.
You'll hear them. It's crazy. It's crazy when it happens, and they fly over you, and you hear it screech, and you're like, "Oh shit, what was that?"
Bro, remember junior year when I stuck my arm out like this, and freaking hawk's wing touched my hand?
Well, Elm Street. I don't think I don't actually hear their wings fly. No, I've heard them make sounds, like make vocalizations while flying. I've never actually heard wings flapping unless I've been like stupid close to the bird.
Yeah.
And Elmster said no. He said based on their wingspan, it wasn't a plane. Was his reasoning? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's a silly. He's kind of silly, but at the same time, you know, he was a kid and he believes what he believes. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, because around here we got a lot of crackles and we got doves. So I'm always hearing the doves cooing.
Yeah.
And
And
the
Elm Street
crackles
said you
make
also
all
have
sorts of.
planes that can cut engines off and then you don't hear them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He thought he had photographed a mysterious bird, but he didn't realize it was a secret of the future. There is a group of creatures in the world that have been discovered by very few people, but have not yet been proven to exist. Collectively, we call these creatures the unidentified mysterious animals, or UMA. In recent months, there has been a steady stream of information about the discovery of the erosion bird. This is a giant bird, 3 meters tall, snow white in color, with human-like features, and said to be able to move through space and time. Here's what happened in East Antarctica on November 15, 2021, as told by actual eyewitness John Cook. John is a photographer employed by an international nature magazine who traveled to Antarctica to photograph some rare wildlife. Armed with his camera and drone, he traveled across the frigid waters on an icebreaker to a scientific research station in Antarctica. There he meets some friendly scientists who tell him that Antarctica has many amazing landscapes and creatures, but also many dangers and unknowns. John decided to start by exploring the surroundings with his drone to see if there was anything worth photographing. He saw snow-capped mountains, crevasses of turquoise blue glaciers, and some penguins and seals frolicking on the beach. It was then that he suddenly noticed something strange. In the drone's footage, he saw a giant bird, about 3 meters tall, with immaculate white feathers, a large beak and feet, and a neck alone that was 0.5 meters long, which startled John.
So Elm Street likes to hug ostriches. At least when he was 6, he wanted to hug an ostrich. He said, fun fact, I broke/walked into a zoo enclosure when I was 6 to hug an ostrich, and it had its wings coming for me. My dad barely saved me. He said he had his the ostrich's wings were open.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. I'd be so scared. I would like shit myself, especially if I was 6. A giant ostrich running right at me with its wings open. Have you ever seen those people that ride on the back of ostriches?
Yeah.
Absolutely no. That would be a no for me.
I'd do it.
Of course you would. I'd love to watch you do that, Crew.
The Chernobyl disaster was the worst nuclear disaster in history, resulting in the evacuation of 68,000 people and the hospitalization of 237 workers. The death toll is hard to determine, with many people dying years after the incident due to the radiation exposure. At least 50 deaths can be linked directly to the disaster, but thousands of people died in the aftermath from the radiation. At least 28 people died from acute radiation sickness, which I implore you to not research if you're squeamish. It's arguably the worst possible way to die. Chernobyl is over 5,000 miles away from Point Pleasant, West Virginia. There's almost nothing that links the two places together. Almost nothing. Except that there were 2 horrible disasters that happened 19 years apart, both of which were prefaced by the dark omen of a black-winged creature with glowing red eyes. This is the story of the Blackbird of Chernobyl. A story that will ring eerily familiar for most of you. In the days leading up to the nuclear disaster in Chernobyl in April of 1986, workers at the power plant began seeing an unsettling creature. It was described as a large, headless, winged humanoid flying above the city of Pripyat. It had glowing red eyes, and the sight of the creature instilled terror in all of those who witnessed it. Some people claimed to have nightmares and received threatening phone calls after witnessing the creature. If you are familiar with Appalachian folklore, you may recognize the same details as those associated with the Mothman. I made a longer video about the Mothman if you're not familiar with the fascinating tale of high strangeness. I invite you to check it out. The similarities don't end at the physical appearance of the creature, though. It appeared in the lead-up to horrible disasters in both situations. The Mothman appeared before the tragic Silver Bridge collapse in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, a disaster which resulted in the deaths of 46 people. Tracing the legend of the Blackbird of Chernobyl back to its source is obviously very challenging. Many people associated with the disaster are dead now, and to be completely honest, it's possible that there may be no validity to the story at all. But still, the legend of the strange visitor continues to be told. All I can say for certain is if you see a flying black humanoid with a large wingspan and glowing red eyes, it's best to err on the side of caution and head for the hills. There's a good chance you don't want to find out why it's paying a visit.
All right, so let's see. Elm Street said, I believed birds were friendly at the time because pterodactyls died. And then he said, I never knew an emu at that point, and I'm part Australian. And then he said, Australia literally had a war called the Emu War and lost to them. Said, I hate talking to real Appalachians. Their language is awful. The Appalachians thing is crazy. There's so much stuff that apparently goes on in the Appalachian forest.
Yeah, and I've been around some of those areas. I've never been to Point Pleasant, but I've been around some of the other areas in West Virginia, and
That's a place
it's
where I would love
different.
to go camping.
Yeah.
Bro, you're crazy. You want to go camp in the Appalachian Mountains? All right, let's go do it. You pick the weekend. Let's save some money, and me and you will take a 3-day trip and camp in the Appalachian Mountains. But if we die, I am going to sue you. I'll be dead, but I'll see you in heaven.
I've been camping in near like the Blue Ridge Parkway, in the Shenandoah Valley area. But I haven't been camping there since I was a kid.
Elm Street said that's all the East Coast has. They only gassing up Appalachia. Go to the Canadian side, trust. I've been to the Canadian, so I've been to Canada. I love Canada. I would love to go back just to visit. I absolutely love it up there. So that would be fun, actually.
It would be.
I want to go
haven't-
to where the bad parts are, see what's true or not true.
Yeah, I haven't been to Canada since I was 17.
Listen, crew, I'll go with you. But like I said,
16.
be prepared to get sued in heaven. I've heard too many stories, man, about people going missing in the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah, the 411.
411 cases. I mean, we did a whole
Yeah.
episode on 411. Julie, that episode exploded on Facebook.
Oh, I know. I was
That
here.
episode got almost 30,000 views. That was the first time the podcast ever went viral, was the 411 episode.
Yeah. Hey, Elm Street says, go to the Canadian, horrible during the winter and spring. He said that. But you guys do know since it's summer here, it's winter in the southern hemisphere, right?
Yep.
And then he says near.
Oh, I can't go to Appalachia. Not right now.
Yeah, the bears and all the mosquitoes.
If Crew's paying, I'll go to Appalachia right now. But if he's not paying, I can't pay my way.
Oh, he says here, near here. So.
Best is early spring. Hell yeah.
Well, with how much we've seen where we live already,
bro, we could
nothing
handle
will
the
shock
winter
me
time.
when we go out there.
We could handle the winter time out in Appalachia. We would just have to bring the right gear.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
It sucks to think about having to go during the winter time, which we could just wait and go at some other point, but we have to have the money first, and that
Yeah,
costs
that's
money,
true.
man. That would be at least a couple $100 to get down there, and then a couple $100 to get back.
Right. And we would have to be prepared. We would have to have some weapons on us just in case.
And camping gear.
Bro, Elm Street, I will come up there, and me and you can go look for Bigfoot. You got to take me Bigfoot hunting. I will go with you as long as you take me Bigfoot hunting. I will find a way down there.
Well,
Man, I'd
no,
love to
we
visit
we
I'm
want to
not
go to
kidding.
the. I want to go mainly not because of Bigfoot. I want to go mainly because I want to see if I could prove the whole theory of what really goes on out there.
Oh, no. Elm Street was talking about California and
Oh,
Bigfoot.
California.
Yeah, California.
I got to go fishing with you? Hell yeah. I love fishing, bro. No. I love fishing. I'll teach you how to fish. I can teach you how to fish, brother. I've been fishing since I was 8 years old. Ask Crew. I go trout fishing in Colorado. I go trout fishing on a daily or not a daily basis. That's over exaggeration, but basically
Probably weekly.
every time that I go to Colorado, I'm going trout fishing. I'm pretty sure you've caught fish bigger than me. I bet you have. I'm a trout fisherman, so the biggest fish I've ever caught was a catfish, and it was a Crew. You were with me. It was a 30-pound. No, it wasn't 30 pounds. It was like a 20-pound catfish.
Yep.
It was a big catfish. It was huge.
Hey, I went deep sea diving, and I caught a blowfish.
Yeah, you caught a blowfish.
I caught a blowfish.
That's crazy.
That was, and I was in a contest.
Oh, Elm
And,
Street says
if
where he's at. He's got sturgeon.
Yeah, and
I
if
want to come fight some sturgeon.
but they told me that if I didn't throw it back, it would just blow up. It would explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
But that was really cool. My first time deep sea diving and caught a blowfish.
Elm
I
Street
never
said I
forgot
went
that.
to an island and they caught a swordfish and killed it. Won't lie, I hated it so much, man. I learned for that thing, I catch and release. I catch and release too, except when it comes to trout. If I catch me a brook trout or I catch me a rainbow trout, I'm eating that bastard. I have no problem cutting its head off and gutting it and eating it. That's because I grew up fishing. That's how it was. And I do respect the fish. I only kill to eat. I don't kill a fish and then waste it ever. The same
Yeah.
day I kill that fish, I eat it. And I thank the gods for that fish.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, swordfish makes me sad because I'd never kill that swordfish. I would never kill a swordfish. I would put that thing right back in the water because it's too beautiful.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, in East Texas, my sons would go fishing,
Uh-huh.
and they would catch alligator guards.
Oh, alligator gar is so much fun. I fought an alligator gar on a fishing line. It's one of the craziest fish I've ever caught was a gator gar.
But they love to eat the bait right
Oh.
off your line.
Chicken liver. Chicken liver all day.
Okay.
Elm Street said swordfish, that's a miraculous creature, even if it was ugly, but nothing is truly ugly. I don't think swordfish are ugly. Hell, I think most fish are actually quite beautiful. Like one of my favorite fish in the world, people consider probably the ugliest freaking fish in the world, and I just think it's super unique, and that's the blobfish. Like the blobfish, yeah, it's. I mean, you can classify it as ugly, but there's a reason it's alive. Elm Street said, like, let's get into a debate. No one's ever thought of, laugh my ass off, what's actually determines something being ugly. Like, let's be real, it's so superficial in a way. So ugliness is only so in my personal opinion, ugliness is only there if you as a person perceive something as unattractive. Nothing is actually ugly because somebody in the world finds that thing attractive, or something in the world finds that thing attractive. It's not ugly.
Exactly.
It was made for a reason. It was put together for a reason. You're just not attracted to it, or the people around you aren't. And Elm Street said exactly. Yeah, for sure. It is fake and superficial because they want to show the girls magazine covers of like Victoria's Secret and mall magazines, and these girls sadly like kill themselves all the time because they're not that pretty. But quite frankly, half of those girls that do that to themselves would be quite the catch for any man. So it's like, why are we making women feel like shit for not looking a certain way? Like I think that's so dumb. Like, of course, if your wife or girlfriend is being very unhealthy, you should probably tell them and back them up and be like, hey, I think we should get help for this. But I still don't think that's ugly. That's just somebody who needs to work on themselves.
Yeah,
I mean, how do you guys feel about that?
I agree.
I agree. I agree. Cause like I said, I got that soda issue,
Oh,
and I
you were
don't know
talking
if it's
about
ever gonna
nature?
go away.
You were talking about nature more? Yeah, no, for sure. When it comes to nature too, nothing. I don't think anything's ugly in nature. But some people would argue with me and say a blobfish is fucking ugly.
Yeah.
But I don't think they are. I think they're cool. Um, my favorite fish, or I guess they're not fish, they're invertebrates or invertebrates, I guess, is the jellyfish. I actually have a giant lion's mane jellyfish tattooed on my leg. I absolutely love sea life. Elm Street said, because we're all the same life, and if I wasn't married to my lady, only thing I'd marry is an alien. Laugh my ass off. Yeah, no, if I wasn't married to this girl that I'm married to now, dude, I wouldn't be married. I'm not marrying nobody else after this. I can't. It's my second marriage. I'm done remarrying. I'm done getting married. I'm hoping this is the last one ever. And it should be. We both love each other. We're both willing to work on things together. It will be the only relationship I have forever.
Oh yeah.
Elm Street says, my lady actually says it would be for the best. I mean, yeah. Oh man. We do have a couple more videos. Let's do these before it gets too late.
All right.
Where did I leave off at? We just watched that one.
Historians believe its origin to be in this general area due to the discovery of ancient Indian Sanskrit epics that reference what was said to be a giant bird, large enough to pick up elephants. The ruck has often been compared to a bald eagle in terms of appearance and temperament, but it is significantly larger with a much greater wingspan. Here's some other creatures similar to the ruck, which include birds such as the pang, the seamorg, the garanda, the phoenix, and the thunderbird.
What kind of bird is that?
I don't know.
I am not sure.
It looked real. It doesn't look like it's AI. It looks like it's a real bird, but it looks like maybe some kind of vulture.
Possibly.
Next time you're out and about hiking in the many forests surrounding Pennsylvania, be sure to keep an eye on the sky. You might catch a glimpse of this urban legend. Thunderbirds are a legend going back to the Native Americans. These oversized birds were said to hide out in the forest, and if one was spotted, it meant there was a storm on the way. Over the last 100 years or so, there have still been sightings along the I-80 frontier, Pine Creek Valley, dark skies, and elk country landscapes of the Pennsylvania wilds. In June of 2012, 2 girls saw a thunderbird while camping in Chapman Township. The bird, which was estimated at a 14-foot wingspan and had no feathers on its head, swooped low over the camp, causing the younger girl to run. Crying into the cabin, imagine being scooped up by this terrifying cryptid.
No, the bird we were talking about, Elm Street, is this bird right here. I'll play the video right now. That's not real. It looks so real to me. I don't know. I was thinking it was a vulture or something. Oh, birds don't have coats like that. Yeah, no, yeah,
It
you're right.
doesn't look real to me.
It just looks like a big old vulture. I just thought it was some kind of weird, huge vulture.
Right.
You know, vultures get huge. They get
Mhm.
gigantic.
Unless somebody put on a costume.
Birds don't have fur. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
The mythical thunderbird, known for its ability to cause storms and thunder, has captured the imagination of many indigenous cultures of North America. According to legends, the thunderbird is a powerful being that can create lightning with the beating of its wings and control the weather. Native American tribes, such as the Ojibwa and Lakota peoples, consider the thunderbird a spiritual protector and a symbol of strength. In many stories, the thunderbird is seen as a warrior who fights evil spirits, ensuring the safety and well-being of his people. The image of the thunderbird has also been integrated into mythology, art, and ceremonies, symbolizing the connection between earth and sky. In addition, the thunderbird is considered a symbol of rebirth and transformation, representing hope in difficult times.
Hope in difficult times. Is that right, crew? Did your grandfather ever talk about thunderbirds?
Nope.
Never?
Nope.
Did you ever ask him about any of his weird sightings or anything weird he ever saw?
Yeah.
What did he have to say?
Okay, so my mom even confirmed this. When my grandfather was still married to his first wife, when she was still alive, which is the one who I was very close to.
Yeah.
We were all hanging out one day, just talking, and my grandfather was telling me, ask your mom about what I've seen, because if you're so curious, go ask her, because I don't want to tell you. I want you to figure it out. Because he didn't want to tell me. So I went to my mom, who was in the same house, was like, hey mom, grandpa won't tell me what he's seen. She goes, oh, well, he hasn't really seen anything, but he heard. I was like, heard what? Well, they were in this specific area. I can't remember what location she said they were at, but what she said was they were camping or something like that, and apparently they heard Bigfoot.
Oh, they did? Like tree knocking and yelling and stuff like that?
Yeah, from a distance, yeah.
See, I told you, Elm Street, Bigfoot's real. Crew's grandfather heard Bigfoot. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Elm Street. Yes, it is. We're going to go find Bigfoot together. I'm going to hold you to that, you non-believer in Bigfoot.
Hey, I'm skeptical myself, okay?
Elm Street said, I've heard something I thought was Bigfoot too. If you heard it, Elm Street, then why don't you believe it?
Okay, but because here, I'm right there with Elm Street on this. Okay, look, it's skeptical.
Bro, there are giant like gorilla humanoids all over the country, and they run their own government, and they play really good games of hide and seek, and they eat people sometimes. And that's where a lot of the 411 cases are, is Bigfoot like kidnaps people and like cooks them and eats them, I believe. And then I think he might also have some fun time with these people. And then you get Bigfoot human hybrids, which are another classification of Bigfoot that we see all the time around here. I truly believe that. No, I'm not. I'm just fucking with you. No. I wanted to see how much time you take me serious or not. No, but I think is the possibility of an ape-like creature walking around in the forests likely? Probably not. It's probably like a 0.5% out of a 100% chance. So like, it's the same chance as an asteroid landing in your backyard right now.
Yeah.
But
Elm Street asked if you ever heard of elk.
oh yeah, I've heard
How?
elk. I've heard elk. I like their squeaky. I can't do it because they it's like it sounds like a horn at first, and then it goes off into like some crazy weird like bird noise. Elk are insane.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Well, are you talking
Sounding.
elk? Like, are you talking elk grunts? If you're talking elk grunts, then yeah, that's a different story. Elks grunt sometimes, and they go.
Okay.
They sound actually absolutely ridiculous, and yeah, they can sound pretty demonic sometimes. I can look up an elk call for you. I've heard them. So you heard
Yeah, I always
deer calls too. There's plenty of them. Let's
excuse me,
see.
they're pretty cool to hear. I've only heard them on TV, but it's still pretty cool.
That's an elk. That's what they do. No, for sure. I understand what you're saying, Elm Street. Like, it would be creepy to hear that from like far away. But I'll tell you what's more creepy, dude. Imagine being close enough to hear one grunt, and their grunts are crazier than their loud calls.
Oh, bro, we should bring up, since we're still, on the stream, about what you, me, your wife, and my wife heard.
Listen.
Back in 2021.
They sound like they're in fucking pain.
But yeah, let's talk about what you, me, your wife, my wife heard back in 2021, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we want to get into that. I can tell you exactly what I heard and what scared the ever living shit out of me. Well, we were living in a really shady part of of independence back in the time, and there was right across the street from our government funded housing at the time, because I didn't make no money and she didn't make no money. There was a giant like homeless encampment, right? Or there was at one point. The police actually got rid of all the homeless people that were back there. They arrested most of them, or they pushed them out. It was kind of sad, but it's what happened. One night, Crew and his girlfriend, or Crew and his wife, came over, and they were leaving at about like 10:30, 11 p.m., right? So something like that. And
Yeah.
they lived like maybe what would you say, like 15, 20 minutes away?
About 10 minutes away.
Maybe 10 minutes away. That was walking distance. Well, Crew gets out, right? And his girl leaves the house. And right as they're leaving and they get down like halfway down the road, my wife and I hear the loudest woman in the history of women like scream bloody murder at the top of her lungs, saying, "Somebody help me! Somebody help!" But she's like screaming. And then the voice, I shit you not, went deep as shit, and it sounded demonic. And I
Oh,
immediately called Crew, and he was shaken up by it. And he's like, "There's nobody there, bro." Sarah went and looked. There was nobody there. I told her, "Don't go," and I booked it. But Sarah like went as far as she could see to see if somebody needed help. And there was nobody there. She said there was nobody to be seen at all. And I was like, "Bro, that's some skinwalker shit." Like, we heard it too. Like, it was trying to draw people in. So I don't know if it was paranormal, or if it was some homeless person that was on a substance or something, but we did not see them ever again. The screaming stopped once everybody ignored it. So it was very weird. And there wasn't like anybody stabbing, like there was no like other people making any noise. It was this singular woman's voice that ended up going demonic.
We could hear it from where me and my wife were at. We could hear it all the way to when we got to the street that we were staying on at the time.
Yeah.
And that was like not it was like really close to the square, but like not too close, right? And we could
Right.
hear it all the way from over there. And that's not close to where, okay, so so basically he lit where Rob and his wife were staying at in government housing was close to our little transit center that Independence only uses for Kansas City now. And we walked further away from there to closer to I'd say 24 24 highway.
Yeah.
And when we got there, we could still hear it. And I'm like, bro, we can still hear it over here. How is that possible? And
It was loud, man. It was loud.
it lasted for a good
Elm Street's
30
talking to you,
minutes.
Chris. Elm Street's
yeah,
talking to you. Elm
yeah,
Street's calling you out.
he calling you the Nebru. That only the Nebru crew has
He's also
stories
calling
like
you out
this.
for lying about a kickflip down the stairs.
But yeah, no, it was
No, this
creepy.
happened though. Both
It
of
was creepy, like hella creepy. Like It lasted for 30 minutes. It was not that. It was unsettling for me. Like it
I
really
bet
did
so.
sound like a girl was screaming bloody murder.
It
Yeah,
was
and
bad. It was crazy.
I've heard the Skinwalker story that if you hear it, don't go near it. They're just trying to call you
Well,
in,
here's the
draw you
thing,
near.
Julie. If it sounds like it's far away, it's actually pretty close.
They try to draw you in. They
Yeah.
use any
Yeah,
tactic
that's
they
what I'm
can to draw
saying.
you in. Some of the creepiest things I've ever heard, I've believed at one point in my life were probably skinwalkers and or what's the ones called that scream in the night, banshees.
Yeah.
Um, when I was a lot younger, I spent a lot of time in Colorado with my grandmother. I basically lived there, and I saw and heard things up into this day that I cannot explain. One of them being there was this creek that was below where my grandmother lived. She had like I want to say 140 something acres that she bought on the side of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains back in the day. Beautiful place. You go down to the creek at night, and sometimes you would hear drums. They sounded like native drums, like somebody playing the drums. Nobody lived on that land. There was nobody for miles. For miles.
Yeah.
And you could hear horses.
I've heard stuff like
Horses
that.
that weren't there. One night I saw a full apparition of a horse with what appeared to be a native man on it, and it disappeared in front of me. I was probably 11, maybe 12. I've seen weird shit, so I know weird shit exists in the forests.
You
I
know
know
where
that.
you and I definitely do need to go, bro? Over
Where?
by Fort Osage.
By Fort Osage? Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Because
Elm
that's
Street
one of the
said,
most haunted spots in
yeah,
Independence.
Elm Street said, I don't believe the U.S. had any aliens. If anything, the Russians would get them first because they have Siberia. Let's be real, Siberia is 10% of the world's land mass. Probably. I mean, but the U.S. would want everybody to believe that they found the aliens first.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the reason why I say you and I should do Fort Osage, bro, because of the fact that it has a lot of Indian mounds.
Oh, dude, the Indian mounds are crazy. I would love to go out there and do as much like research into it as possible, but also take the spirit box out there and see if we could pick up any like anybody that wants to have a conversation from the afterlife up there.
Right.
Absolutely would
Yeah.
love that.
That would be cool. You need to send pictures
Julie,
if
check
you
this
go
out.
there.
Where we live is Indian Mound Central. Well, not where Rob lives, but where I live and where he used
Yeah.
to live. All the way from where Fort Osage is at, all the way to where I'm at is Indian Mound Central.
Yeah, there's a lot of Indian mounds.
That'd be cool.
We're at Missouri, Elm Street, Missouri. Good old Kansas City. Yep, Missouri.
We're
mean
in the
Missouri?
Kansas City area.
Yeah, we live in Missouri.
Yeah,
Missouri.
because
Yeah. I'm
I'm
always
in Kansas
joking.
City. Rob's about 30 minutes away from me. He's in Blue Springs, which is
A suburb.
a suburb like area, but I'm in like I'm like probably about I'd say what 14 minutes away from downtown.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the Hispanic district, which is huge Indian mound area. Huge.
Yeah,
Like
the Kansas City is known that okay, so Kansas City and St. Louis both dug up Indian burial grounds and basically moved said graves because they didn't want to tell the archaeologists or whatever, because if that had happened, then they wouldn't have been able to build certain things. At least that's the rumors. And they have dug up certain roads in St. Louis where they have found Indian bodies and things like that. And they're starting to realize that a lot of different places in the world have a lot of Indian sites that have just been plowed over or basically concrete laid over them.
Yeah, I believe it.
No, they don't dig into them. They plow through them.
Wow.
We don't have we don't have any protected mounds anymore where we live by, because back when the mounds were first found, the people down here plowed them. They literally plowed the mounds and tried to get rid of all evidence of whatever it was. At least that's the alleged rumors. And I forget which Indians were out in the Independence area. I always
I
forget
can't tell
that.
you either. I can't remember.
I'll have to look. I'm gonna look that up real quick.
You can talk to Grok now.
Yeah. What Indians lived around the Kansas City, Missouri area?
The main tribes around Kansas City, Missouri were the Kansa, Osage, Otoe, and Missouri tribes, with others like the Shawnee and Wyandot also having a presence in the region over time. You can find more details on sites like visitkc.com or kcur.org.
Yeah, so
Well, yeah, it makes sense. The Osage would be the ones around.
Yeah, the
That's why it's called
Osage,
Fort Osage.
and then the Wyandotte, bro. We have Wyandotte County.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And it said Cheyenne.
Shawnee, the Shawnee.
Shawnee,
Sorry,
yeah,
I
the
said it wrong.
Shawnee. We have the
And we
Shawnee,
have
we have the
Shawnee
Osage, and we have the Wyandotte.
Yeah.
It makes sense. So Elm Street also said in Cali, all we got is native burials and arrowheads, but the only true sites are in Arizona and I think Florida, actually. In Florida, funny enough, I know where there's a pretty secret spot that not a lot of people know about close to the Tampa area, which is burial grounds that are Indian mounds that are really cool to go see. Elm Street said, Julie, let me ask you something. Do you like art? You look like you like art. That window band behind is beautiful, artistic type quality most don't have. Banner.
Yeah, I like some art. I'm dabbled a little in high school, but not real great. My kids have more artistic ability than I do. I think it comes natural for them.
That means it's in their blood, Julie. That means you have the creative gene. You just haven't tapped into it.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna have to get out my art and show y'all one day. I haven't really done much since high school, but they
Yeah,
put it on the wall for people to see, so it must have been good.
we'll do a deep dive into Julie's art one of these episodes. Elm Street said, these spots are coral reef cooking pots in Florida, if I remember right. I don't know. And then Elm Street said, lovely, you have kids. How old?
My youngest is 17. She'll be 18 in December. The next one, well, my oldest is 26. The next one, 24. And then the youngest son is 21.
How old's your oldest son?
26.
26. I'm older than your oldest son. Crazy.
We both are.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm an old man.
Moms. Elm Street said, I feel like I know some about Robert and crew, but nothing about Julie. And then Elm Street says, W Moms.
Thank you.
But yeah, like, okay, so with how old me and Rob are, we've seen some crazy shit. We've been through some crazy shit, and we both feel old.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, the haunted school you took me to.
Oh God, don't get me started. Okay, that's cool. Okay, look. Apparently it's torn down now, completely gone. That's what my wife said. When I was talking to her. And that school put me through hell back in 2016. I hated the place, but I kept going to the place.
Right.
I've seen some crazy shit there. Rob will tell you, he felt that
And
he didn't
Sherry's
see it.
on crew.
What?
And Sherry's on crew, and she's using your real name again. She's doxing you.
Yeah, yep. Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, my grandmother was Potawatomi, Blackfoot, and Lakota Sioux, and my grandpa was Apache.
Lakota
Yeah.
Sioux.
Well,
Lakota Sioux. Yeah, I know it's Lakota Sioux, but
my stepfather.
here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the thing. When I was talking to my mom, Aunt Sherry, she said apparently they don't like the word Lakota. They prefer Sioux. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
confused
thinking of
because I always
that,
knew it was Lakota Sioux.
Elm Street said he's going to be asking you more questions, Julie, because you needs to be because you deserve it, and about videos, not and about the videos, not her life.
Yeah, Julie, we need to do a video. We need to do an episode about your life, like we did me and Rob.
Yeah. But anyway,
Your
let
aunt
me
said yes,
back
so
to
that's what she was.
the Sioux. My stepfather did a deep dive on family history, and he believed that we might be related to the Sioux tribe.
Yeah.
And there's this one person called Blue Jacket. I forgot his real name now, but his Indian name was Blue Jacket or something like that or other. But he was and my stepfather was always saying it's probably not a good idea to talk about it because he wasn't very well liked in some of that area.
Elm Street said there's a Dakota and a Lakota, I believe, or another name for Dakota.
Okay. And then I'm also supposedly I've always been told I've had Cherokee blood.
Yeah,
because
Cherokee would. A lot of people have the Cherokee and tribe in them.
My great grandmother married I get it confused all the time. It's either one or the other, but my great grandmother married into a full blooded Cherokee.
It's funny,
or vice versa.
Even though Rob, I don't have the best relationship with my little brother, but when I am around him, there's times, or if I'm on the phone with my mom, there's times I could hear him speaking Sioux.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to figure out what he's saying because I don't speak the native tongue or the language, anyways.
Right.
Yeah, but I've always I've always loved Native American stuff, Indians. we went to powwows, and I would sit there and just get memorized by
I'm just
the
making me lose it in these comments.
Okay, so Sherry said because of history, it's really hard to follow blood lines because people didn't speak of it and there were no records.
She's asking if we know what your name means. What does your name mean?
Nighthawk
Nighthawk.
in Sioux.
Bird person. I'm just kidding. You're like, Rick and Morty bird person.
But yeah, that's what my name means. And fun fact, a lot of people don't know, but I go by my initials on stream because not a lot of people can say my first name.
Right.
That's why we just call you Crew.
Yep.
Or Ceton.
Well, actually, Julie, I'll tell you this: it's not Seaton, it's not Seaton, like Derek and Tyler and all them say it. It's actually Chayton.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have a hard time saying it, so I'm just gonna call you Crew. I honestly, I struggle with names. I mean, with pronunciation sometimes.
Andrew said we went to powwows all the time, bunch of laughy, crying faces, made stuff and also danced, and I braided it. Yeah, I remember those. Those were fun.
I had buffalo burgers. Those were pretty good. And then whenever they had the thing where everybody could dance, we would step in and do some of the dance, and that was pretty cool. I love to watch them. Oh my gosh.
The only time I've ever had a buffalo burger, Julie, this was when I was little. Can't remember what grade it was, but we went to Minnesota for a powwow. Me and my mom did.
Yeah.
And we were meeting up with my grandfather and some family friends of his out there, and it was a huge powwow, and they were selling buffalo burgers, and I had about 4 of them, and I fell in love with the buffalo burger. They were really good.
They were good. Yeah. Well, all the powwows I went to were
Actually,
in
bison,
Virginia.
by the way. It's not buffalo because you're not eating water buffalo.
Yeah.
You're bison.
Bison. But
Aunt Sherry said my maiden name is hard to pronounce. It's Wah.
Yeah, Wah. Wah.
And you want to know something funny? Wah is actually Scottish.
Yeah, I got some Scottish ancestries in me. And I got a mixture of Indian, Scottish, Irish, England.
For the first time the other day, Crew, I actually saw somebody else on the internet with the last name Wah, and I was gonna jokingly message you them and be like, "Do you know this guy?" Because I was like, I've never seen anybody else with the last name Wah before.
Oh, you want to know something weird, bro?
What?
I was this was around 2012. I was in Oklahoma, staying out in Oklahoma at the time, right?
Right.
And me and my grandfather and my current grandmother at the time, we were at some like place or whatever. Because we would go because this was when she was running a restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
We went out to somewhere out in Fort Smith, Arkansas, right?
Right.
And no joke, I saw on the wall someone with the last name Wah.
Yeah.
And I pointed out to Grandpa. I was like, "Do you see this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's probably someone we're not related to." But yeah, there's a lot of people out there who have the same last name as us.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure there is. I just myself had never seen somebody else with your last or with the last name of you guys, and I saw it for the first time. And I was just gonna jokingly send you this dude's profile and be like, "Are y'all related?"
She said Lakota also the only tribe that never lost to U.S. in war. He also said, "I've had the honor of being in Blackfoot ceremonies and believe it. The Lakota hatred stuff is still a thing." Yeah, I believe that, and here it's weird because the fact that I have Potawatomi, Blackfoot, Sioux, and Apache, so I feel it.
Yeah. And have you ever seen a dance where they dance before like a hunter? A powwow where they're getting ready to go hunting?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was incredible to watch those guys do that hunting dance.
Yeah,
Just
they're
incredible.
cool
Man,
to
I
watch.
I
The
miss powwows.
ceremonies are awesome to watch.
No, they are. I even follow some on TikTok.
Yeah.
And so once in a while when they're live, I'll sit there and watch them or just listen to the music because it's just something I've always liked. I don't care what other people say right now about that.
Okay, okay, I just got okay. I'm gonna read this real quick because
Yeah,
this is
your
funny.
ants.
Hold on. I'm gonna read this real quick. Trey said, "Everywhere your grandpa was stationed, there was another Robert Earl Waugh." Bunch of laughy, crying faces. And then Elm Street said, "Native respect you if you respect their history. I've even had the honor of being at a death dance, which doesn't happen to anyone." And then I'm sure he goes, "Yeah, uh, I've been saying it wrong. Okay, I'm sorry, Shay. I've always said it wrong. I've always got called out about it. I'm sorry."
How are you saying it?
Apache.
Yeah, it's Apache.
Apache. Yeah.
Apache.
The
I
Apache
know. It's the
Indians.
way it's spelled.
Well,
Because if
yeah,
you
it
look
is
at
the
the
way it's
way it's
spelled. I used to joke around and say Apache just to mess with my
yeah.
mom. She would get so heated about it. I would say Apache. She's like, "That's not how you say it. That's how I say it."
Yeah.
but no, it's actually pronounced Apache.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
So
you know what? I think Dances with Wolves did a
I love you,
very
CSA.
good uh movie on the Indians, and I love that movie.
Yeah, no, it's a cool movie. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Actually, they loved when people pronounced it wrong, says Elm Street. Your answer said I'm gonna ask your mom that. I'm gonna drop that around your mom purposefully just to see what happens. First.
Oh wow, that'd be cool.
Hey, you wanna go firshing?
Can I be the I want to be the fly on the wall when you say that.
I'm gonna call her tomorrow and bring it up, see what she has.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Ask your mom if she wants to go firshing. My grandfather said wash. How Elm Street said his mom used to say wash your clothes. My grandfather, that's the only way my grandfather pronounced wash was wash. Wash that. Go start the washing machine.
Yeah.
Oops, I'm a best. Don't worry, sir. I won't throw you in there. I'll just say, Mom, so I heard a little from a little birdie, but I'm not saying who.
Because you know, Mom, I can telepathically talk to birds like I told Rob I could back in middle school or high school.
Oh, I used to say that stuff all the time just to mess with my mom. She's like, "Oh, did you know I could telepathically speak to birds?" She's like, "That's not funny." I'm like, "Well, my name means Nighthawk."
Yeah.
But no, I used to say that just to mess with her because she's
Yeah, I used to, I had a lady give me an Indian name when we went to those powwows because we got to be friends with them. But now I've forgotten what it was.
and
I don't have
It's
an
been
she
Indian.
so
will
long.
know who she ain't dumb.
Elm Street said the best religion teachings are Native American, so simple and so poetically simple and beautiful, not this complex Egyptian or modern Christian type stuff. Yeah. The
Yeah.
natives believed in the purity of nature, and what was given to them was given to them by the divine. And a lot
Oh
of the
yeah.
times they didn't even consider it necessarily the divine, they called it an energy.
And Trey said her spirit animal is an eagle.
Is an eagle.
I think mine might be a bobcat. You know why I say that?
Why?
Because when we went to the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, we went to the little place where you could see bears and different animals that they had in the enclosures. And I actually saw the bobcat in the distance, and I kept pointing to where it was to my mom and them, and they never could see where it was. And I was the only one. So I'm
Right.
like, well, maybe mine's a bobcat.
I can tell you what my spirit animal is, and your aunt's right. They do come to you in your dreams quite often. But my spirit animal, for whatever reason, is a rabbit. So much so, I kept having dreams about rabbits over and over and over and over again that I ended up getting one tattooed on me. Yeah, that's my spirit animal. And that's Princess Peach. Or sorry, no, Rosalina. I know my own tattoos. That's Princess Rosalina.
Can you guess mine, Rob?
Yeah.
What's your spirit animal? I'm gonna say it's a bird. A hawk. What?
A falcon.
Oh, it's still a bird. That's a
But it's
falcon.
not a hawk.
No, you're right.
Actually,
It's
a
not a
falcon.
hawk. But I said a bird.
Right. No, I was checking no because I already knew you were gonna say hawk, but no, that's not my spirit animal. My spirit animal is a falcon, actually.
I see.
Elm Street
if my
says his
spirit animal,
name was Rising Bear.
yeah, if my spirit animal is not a bunny rabbit, it's a bird and it's an owl. And it's because I see owls literally all the time, and I've had multiple dreams about owls too. But bunny rabbits, they always follow me in my dreams. And the first thing to ever, like, you know how in the story for like Alice in Wonderland, she chased the rabbit and the rabbit leads her to the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah, let me show y'all something real quick.
yeah, in my story, the rabbit isn't like running away from me. It's a white rabbit or black rabbit, and it's casually seeking me out. But like every time I get to it to where I can touch it, I wake up.
I've always liked wolves,
Oh, I
and
love
I got
wolf.
a wolf's
The
dream
dream catcher.
catcher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love dream catchers. I got one actually on my wall over here. Right up here, it's a moon.
But I've always loved wolves.
Wolves
I
are
had a
awesome.
dream catcher, but my dumbass mistakenly left it in the storage unit that I had, and it had my grandmother's hair connected to it.
Mm.
She said, when I wake up, I get right to what I'm supposed to. Not on schedule, just what I scheduled. All right, guys. Well, speaking of schedule, it is been almost at the hour and 55 mark. So, as always, this is the end of the Robert and Crew show tonight. So I believe Crew wants to tell you guys what we're going to be doing tomorrow, and then we're going to let Julie head on and get this show out.
We are going to talk about Terra Infinita part what, Rob?
Oh my God, it's like part 7 or 8.
Yeah, I believe it's part 7, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're doing the Terra Infinita series. It's a great book. We figured we'll get back into it because now we can. So we're gonna do that tomorrow. So like, subscribe, share with your friends, and
Don't forget to poll up on Facebook.
And yeah, don't forget about the poll on Facebook.
Oh, Elm Street says, why are we avoiding the Terminator series?
We are gonna get back to that. We need to get back on certain series that we've been doing. Terra Infinita was one of our biggest ones.
No, but you are right, Elm Street. I had a bad night one night with it, and I got sick, and I had to get off stream, and we gotta get back into the Skynet and Terminator stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably soon.
So we will get back to that as well, but we're gonna do Terra Infinita tomorrow. So like, subscribe, share with your friends. Enjoy. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
Peace.
Peace and love from the Robert and Crew Show.
Everybody wants answers, but nobody's asking the right questions. This is gonna blow your mind. And maybe make you laugh too. Welcome to the Robert and Crew Show, where we dig up conspiracies, chase UFOs, and turn the weirdest news into wild stories. Join Robert, Crew, and Julie every week for secrets, laughs, and the unexplained. Season 6 is streaming now. Follow us if you dare.